Okay, so next we are going to talk about narrative essay. I've told you about narrative writing, what it includes in terms of creative writing. Now let's move towards academic writing, that is narrative essay. A narrative essay tells a story. It uses descriptive language to tell the beginning, middle, and end of an event. It has an introduction that engages the reader's interest, details about the main event or action in the story, and a conclusion that describes the outcome. Now, what is the organization of a narrative essay? It's like the other ones that we have talked about, where you have introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. In introduction, you're going to have a hook, thesis statement to be precise, and background. The hook gets the reader's attention with an interesting, surprising fact. The background tells the history of what happened before the action. The thesis sentence prepares the reader for the main action of the story, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So it is more of an introduction instead of writing about the entire thing. Then, as far as body paragraphs or the middle part of essay is concerned, it's the main story, right? It uses lots of details to bring the story to life. First, there is situation, then rising action is there, and then finally, there is the climax. The situation paragraph describes the when, where, and what
स्टूडेंट
happened
वेट
in
कर
the
रही है
story.
उनको ऐड कर दे
Please mute yourself. Let's talk about it.
एक्सक्यूज मैम
It's okay if they are outside, let them wait. Beta, mute yourself. I've got the news that some of you are having some kind of a viva. That's all right. You can listen to this meeting later on. Let me finish first, right? So we were talking about body paragraphs. We had talked about situation, then rising action and climax. The climax is the main action, the surprise or the height of the action. Then we have conclusion. Now this is an interesting activity in which we um, identify parts of narrative essay. We have hook, background, thesis sentence, situation, rising action, climax, and conclusion. Now they have given, different parts over here, and the students are supposed to actually match the columns. You can do it at home and later on show it to me in the classroom. Now this is one example. The topic is called My First Japanese Pastry. Now look at the hook. First we have introduction, in which we are going to talk about hook. Japan is known as land of rising sun. The background is I always thought Japan was an exotic country with interesting custom. I always wanted to go to Japan. Then we have thesis statement. Eating a pastry taught me an important lesson. Then we have body paragraphs in which we can talk about situation, rising action, and climax. Situation is getting off the plane and walking the street of Tokyo, Japan was very exciting, but it also felt the same as home. Then, if we talk about rising action, I was hungry and I wanted something cheap and delicious. I found a bakery. I saw strawberry jam pastry like back home. Now, this is more of an outline of the narrative essay. Then we have climax. I bit into the pastry and was surprised to find it was not strawberry jam. Then we have conclusion. I began to like sweet bean paste. I learned that many things in Japan look the same as in the UK, but they are truly Japanese and we should appreciate them. Now, traveling is more enjoyable. Now, they have given an outline of a narrative essay. Now, they have written the narrative essay full fledged. Let's read it together. Japan is known as the land of rising sun. Ever since I was a child, I always thought of Japan as an exotic country filled with many strange and interesting customs. I had always wanted to travel to Japan and experience its old and unique culture. Luckily, it was my first year in university and I was able to study abroad in Japan. I was so excited, but little did I know that I was about to learn an important lesson because of a simple pastry. At first, now this is a transition, right? Everything was new and exciting for me. Getting off the airplane and the London and walking the streets of Tokyo for the first time was very exciting. Seeing old temples, shrines, and some people dressed in kimonos was exciting, and it fit my image of Japan exactly. I thought to myself, my dream has come true. Now, whenever the character is telling the story, now, character is somebody who's writing this essay, they are quoting themselves. My dream has come true. Inverted commas, exclamation marks. So, when you're writing a narrative essay and you need to quote yourself, you're going to have quotation marks. And if you're quoting somebody else, then you're going to have quotation marks as well. However, after a while, the new buildings, the modern public transportation system, and the modern department stores with all the signs in English made me feel at home. I thought basically Japan is like the UK, right? So, however, after a while, all these are transition markers. Walking around, I started to feel hungry. I started looking for something cheap and delicious. I didn't know where I was. So I followed my nose and found a bakery. There were many breads and pastries everywhere. I really felt like I was back home. Suddenly, I spotted a delicious looking strawberry jam pastry. After I paid, I bit into the pastry. What is this? I thought. Now, again, in narrative writing, the character is quoting himself. I was surprised to find that it was not filled with strawberry jam, it was filled with sweet bean paste called anko in Japan. It was such a disappointment. Although I didn't like sweet bean pastry that day, I have since learned to love it. What I learned was that many things look the same in Japan as in my country. However, on the inside, they are pure Japanese and they should be appreciated for what they are. Now, traveling is more enjoyable since I learned that lesson. Now, look at these transitions. As you can see, there are different colors given in this outline, right? So, hook lines are in pink. If you have a pink line over here, you have hook lines. The red talks about the background. Background is given in the first paragraph, as you can see. Then thesis statement is given in the orange one. Thesis statement is this one. I was so excited, but little did I know that I was
मैम ये
about
बच्चों को अंदर कर दे क्लास में.
important lesson because of a simple pastry, right? So then next you have green, in which situation has been written. Now let's take a look at the black lines. The black lines are transitional markers where you can see at first walking around, although I didn't like. This is the opening of each paragraph, which has to be as strong as possible. So this is how you actually write narrative essay. You organize narrative essay this way. Uh, Later on, some activities are given in this handout that you can do at your own. For example, my first foreign friend. Now, this is a paragraph of 400 words, and then they ask different questions regarding it. So, you can do it and show it to me later in the classroom. So, that's all about narrative essay. I hope it's clear to you.